Hey y'all, it's Fortune Frankly and welcome to Fortune Frankly Fridays, where we do DIY home decor and sometimes organization videos. Before we get into the DIYs today, I do want to touch upon what's happening in the United States and around the world after the murder of George Floyd. As a Black woman, this obviously impacts me personally. It impacts my family and people who look like me. I just want to point out to say that police brutality against Black and brown people is not something new. It's been a conversation that has been ongoing, and a lot of people have been at that table already. I am deeply upset about the killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and so many other people, not only at the hands of police, but of community vigilantes who think they can act as police. I am extremely upset to see that it has taken this long to get the conversation started in so many communities and for so many people across this nation and across the world. It should not have had to come at the expense of another Black person being murdered by police. That being said, I do welcome and appreciate people who are new to this conversation, people who are allies and want to become allies, and anyone who just wants to learn more and be more involved in anti-racism. For those who want to learn more about the movement, no matter what you identify as, I put together a syllabus. It's called the Black Lives Matter 2020 Internet Syllabus, and it really goes through, as if it were a class, how the Black Lives Matter movement started, and it goes into things like looting that we're seeing, why people are doing it, what their justification might be, the rebuttals of all lives matter and Black on Black crime that really take away from the issues that we're discussing and are completely separate or non-existent conversations. And it also includes articles that talk about things like defunding the police and other solutions that can help bring about an end to police brutality and an end to racism as a whole. Now, the syllabus includes very little of my personal opinion, but I wanted to create it so that people can be educated on the topics that we're talking about when we're coming to the table saying Black Lives Matter, and not just tools on how to be anti-racist. I know a lot of people have Google Docs that talk about that, but this syllabus is on a Google Doc, and it's really about as if you were taking a class on Black Lives Matter. The last thing I want to say about this is that I know I've been silent on this channel and on my Instagram for over a week. I am not silent on other platforms or other accounts that I have. I personally like to keep this channel fun and separate from a lot of the things that are happening. But of course, as this impacts me personally, and it impacts so many of us, this is not something I could just let slide on my channel. So I wanted to address it here, but I am and will continue to put resources out there to share my opinion on social media and to make strides to overcome racism. Okay, oof, breathe. Are we doing good? Are we okay? Now that we're on the same page, we can get back to the DIY stuff. Today we're doing DIYs where I was inspired by each of the 4 elements, and we have fire, earth, air, and water. So this intro was long enough already. Let's get into the projects. So for the first element, which is fire, we're going to be making a cover for a candle that looks like really nice home decor, but also when you put it over the candle, lets the light shine through. For this project, you'll need 4 6-inch dowels, 4 12-inch dowels, some bamboo skewers, and some hot glue. Starting with the 4 6-inch dowels, we're just going to glue them into a square. This will be the base of our candle cover. Now we're going to take 2 of those 12-inch dowels and glue them to the corners of the squares and let them meet at the top. I'm going to do the same thing with 2 more wooden dowels on the opposite ends so that we have 4. And I'm going to glue them all together at the top so they don't come loose. Now taking these bamboo skewers, I'm just going to show you what I did with one of the sides. I'm going to take a skewer and glue it to the middle of the triangle. Now on both sides of that skewer that I just placed, I'm going to put smaller skewers kind of going along parallel to that main skewer that we just put. And I'm just going to cut each skewer with a wire cutter. You can use scissors, whatever you need to shave those down. In the end, it should look like this on the front, and I did the same thing on the back side. But I thought there were still too many gaps for my liking, so I decided to put skewers in between the ones I've already put. And I think this just gives it a more professional kind of look. Now for the other two sides, I did a different design, which I think just adds some like interest to our candle cover. Instead of placing these skewers parallel to the one in the middle, we're going to make it so that they intersect with the middle skewer, not necessarily perpendicular, but let's say like at a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to show you here on the left what to do, on the right is what not to do. And I would recommend starting from the longest dowel to the shortest dowel. On the right, I started from the shortest one to the longest one, and I didn't have space to cover everything I wanted to cover. A tip that I learned here is to put the skewer up under the candle holder, especially with the glue. You don't want the glue to get everywhere, but I think this just makes it easier to maneuver the skewer into place. And here's what it came out looking like. For the next element, which is earth, I wanted to make something that kind of represents plants or nature in some way. And I saw this project actually on the Dollar Tree DIY website. I'll leave it linked below. So I didn't come up with this project on my own, but I think it still looks very cute and it's super simple. And it's just like a succulent frame holder. For this project, you'll need a couple of succulents. I used about 8. A 4x6 picture frame, some floral blocks, and some wire cutters. Now this is a super simple project. All you're gonna do is take apart that frame. We're just gonna need the actual frame part, and we're not gonna need any of the thing that goes inside. Next, we're gonna use 2 blocks of floral foam. Make sure if you're getting this from the Dollar Tree like I did, that you get the floral foam that comes like cut into blocks. And you'll only need 2 blocks to fill this in perfectly. Now we're gonna just take apart the succulents so that we have the wire part sticking out, and it'll be easier to puncture and put into that foam. This is going to be hanging up on a wall, so we definitely want the succulents to be anchored in there. And you can just place these however you like. I got these succulents mostly from the Dollar Tree, but I also did get some from Joann's, and they were 79 cents on sale. And this is how it turned out. For air, I wanted to make something light and airy, and I thought about feathers and I thought about cotton twine that I have. So we're just going to be making these like little kind of macrame feathers or leaves. Some of them look like leaves, but that's okay. They still, you know, float in the wind. For this project, you'll need some cotton twine, scissors, a brush and a comb, and some hairspray. Now taking the cotton twine, we're just going to loop it around, and this will determine the length of our feather or leaf, whatever you want to call it. And this string turned out to be 27 inches. Now I'm going to cut 20 14-inch strings, 18 12-inch strings, 16 10-inch strings, and 14 8-inch strings. These are not the exact measurements of how the project turned out, but this is what I started with, and it gave me a good base. Starting with the longest strings and then working our way down. So you're going to make a loop on the right and one on the left. You're going to slide the first loop underneath the middle, put the second loop on top, and then slide the string legs of each in through the loops. Here's another way I can think about explaining it. It go left loop up, right loop slide. Left loop through, both loops slide. Basically, you just want to alternate because you're still going to end up sliding 8. It is kind of hard to explain, but easy if you just watch. And we're going to continue that with the different sizes of strings that we cut all the way to the bottom. Once we get as far down as we want, we can just cut off the ends of that initial middle loop. And we want to cut things to shape. I actually recommend cutting this after you've hairsprayed it because it will be a lot easier. And taking small sections, we just want to comb it out. This way it'll separate the string hairs like individually, so it'll give it a more fluffier appearance. And I use 2 different size combs to make sure I get everything detangled. Next, we're just going to go in with our brush and make sure everything is laying down the way we want to. You want to form it into the general shape you want it to hold and just spray it on the front and on the back. Now you can cut it into whatever shape you want. I realized this looks like a leaf, but I did make a feather too. And here's how they came out. So for this last element, which is water, last but not least, I thought about rain and that kind of aspect of nature that brings us water. So I had a cloud mirror from the Dollar Tree, which you can see it back here. Don't look, don't look, don't look. And I wanted to kind of play on the idea of rain and umbrellas. So we're just going to be making a mirror that you can maybe hang some things on, or you could just leave it as is and have it look like cute home decor. For this project, you'll need a cloud mirror, some lace ribbon, floral wire, some wire cutters, and not pictured here is a hot glue gun. Starting with the mirror, we're just going to remove the backing and the inside so that we can work on the border. Taking the lace, we're just going to cut it into small pieces so that we can wrap it around individually around the border of the mirror. And we're just going to make sure that's glued down well. And we're going to do that throughout the entire mirror. Now you can choose to wrap this ribbon in other ways. I thought this way just looked the best and most uniform. Taking our mirror, we're going to put it back into the cloud and wrap everything up like how it came. Next, we're going to take this wire and cut some wire strips. This could be however long you want the hanging details on the mirror to be, and just cut 3 of them. Now I'm just measuring where I want this to go, and I want it to be kind of flat and then curve at the bottom. And so the ends aren't sharp and they look kind of cute, I just rolled them up using my wire tools. I actually really like the curved aspect of the wires. It reminds me of like an umbrella, so I thought this went well with the rain theme. Turning it over, how we're going to attach our wires is just by hot gluing it down and then hot gluing over that and kind of entrapping that with some lace pieces just to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. And I just formed a small loop of wire so that I can glue it to the top and be able to hang it on the wall. And here's how it looks. Alrighty, welcome to the end. I think these projects came out really good, and I say that in every video, but I'm always super impressed with the things that you can do with products from the Dollar Tree or just like low cost items and how you can make them into really nice home decor. If you're feeling lucky, you can go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And if you're not feeling lucky, I'm so sorry, but I hope to see you again in the near future. I do hope everyone is staying safe out there and proceeding with caution even as things start to open up. And I do hope everyone knows that racism is not okay, that Black lives matter, and for all lives to matter, Black lives must also matter. Again, you can check the syllabus that I made down below in the description box, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.